It's the Gear Tester here, and if you're watching this video, you're probably asking yourself an important question. Should I purchase an Aimpoint red dot sight, or should I purchase a Eotech holographic sight? You're probably comparing and contrasting those two. You've probably spent a number of hours looking at size, weight, night vision capability, the price of these optics, whether you need night vision capability, how deep they can be submerged. You'll probably never go scuba diving with it, but you know, you do all these different calculations in your mind as you're trying to decide whether you're going to get an Eotech or an Aimpoint sight. Maybe you've already purchased one, and maybe you're having some buyer's remorse and you're looking for some justification as to why you purchased one or the other. Well, in this video I want to look at some of the reasons, some of the differences between Aimpoints and Eotechs, and some of the reasons why I purchased this Aimpoint Comp M4S. There's a number of reasons that I feel that Aimpoint sights are significantly better than Eotech sights, and we're going to look at some of those. We're going to look at the battery life right now. We're going to look at the overall construction. We're going to look at your ability to vary the height of the red dot optic so that it will cross and be able to be used on a number of different firearm platforms. And then we're going to look at the warranty of the firearms. So we're going to look at those four things. When we talk about battery life for a red dot or holographic sight, and I'm probably just going to call these red dots. I know that the Eotechs use this holographic sight system that they're very excited about. In actuality, whether it's a red dot like the Aimpoint or whether it is a holographic sight like the Eotech, most users are not going to know the difference of how the little dot gets projected into the optic and how it kind of hovers out in space with both eyes opened. If you haven't used a red dot sight, it's an amazing experience to have both eyes open and have this little red dot basically just floating in space because you've got both your eyes open. With a conventional sight, excuse me, or standard iron sights, you use one eye, and that means that your field of vision is cut in half. When you're using a red dot sight, you keep both eyes open, and that means you get the full field of vision that you normally have. It means that you're able to react, and that red dot floats kind of out in space. It's an amazing experience. It's kind of an illusion because both of your eyes are open, but you're able to put rounds on target faster, very accurately, and you're able to keep your full field of vision, so you're able to tell what's going around you. And if you're in a home defense situation or you're out hunting, that field of view is very beneficial, and you're going to receive that benefit whether you choose an Aimpoint or an Eotech. But the way in which they do that is something that these companies spend a lot of time and a lot of money hyping and advertising. You probably won't notice a difference as an end user. I've used Eotechs on a number of different occasions, on a number of different AR-15 style rifles. I'm not in the military, I'm not a law enforcement official or officer, and so I have not used them in a combat situation. I've used them in a recreational situation. And I've been very impressed with the Eotechs. I like their big circular 64 MOA dot. I like that. I like how that draws your eye into it. When I say 64 MOA dot, or 64 MOA circle, that's the outer circle on the Eotech. Eotech has this big circle, and then it has a 1 MOA dot. And when we talk about MOA, like the 1 MOA dot, that means it's basically at 100 yards, that red dot will cover a quarter, basically. On the Aimpoints, they have either a 2 MOA dot, so it's going to cover 2 inches at 100 yards, or a 4 MOA dot. So 4 inches will be covered at 100 yards. The Aimpoint Comp M4S that you see right here has a 2 MOA dot. I like that the best. I think it's the best of all the worlds. You have a big enough dot that your eye catches it very easily, and you also aren't covering up too much of your target downrange. That becomes important as you try and shoot out further. So if you're shooting at something with a 2 MOA dot at 200 yards, your sight, that red dot, is going to cover 4 inches. Say it doubles. At 300 yards, it's going to cover, I believe, 6 inches. Okay? So there is some possibility that you might be, and I want to emphasize the might, that you might have a little more precision with the Eotech over the Aimpoint because of the size of the red dot and the amount of area that it's going to cover at longer distance. I do like that big circle. I feel that grabs your attention, that 64 MOA circle, which means again that it covers 64 inches at 100 yards. I like that, particularly if you're going to be hunting. I think that's a great way. It kind of keeps the crosshairs feeling, because that circle has a couple little lines there. And when you have you can have multiple dots. So you can have a 1 dot, 2 dot, or 4 dots on the Eotech. Those are 1 MOA dots again, but that means depending on how you zero it, you don't have to do a holdover. You're able to just go, oh, this is more like 200 yards. I know that coyotes is probably out at 200 yards or 300 yards, and just switch down to that dot. That's going to be dependent on how you zero your rifle, the kind of ammunition you're using with your Eotech sight. So there are some benefits from the Eotech sight. That big circle, I think, really draws your eye in, and having multiple dots. The reality, though, is because you're having that circle, which is pixelated, it's made up of lots of little dots, you're using a lot more battery life. You're not just having that 1 MOA or 2 MOA or 4 MOA dot. You're now having to generate all the electricity for that big circle. So I don't know, I'm not sure that Eotech will ever be able to have the battery life that Aimpoint does, just because they're using a lot more battery to be able to project their holographic image. And when it comes to battery life, we're talking about an optic that runs on batteries. Okay, a standard optic like this, I can zero my rifle, I can put it in the closet, and if I'm using the same ammo and nothing's been jiggled loose, screws haven't come out, 5 years later I can go shoot the gun and it should be zeroed. With these red dot sights, if you don't maintain the battery and the battery goes dead, now you're stuck with a 12.5 ounce paperweight locked to your gun, making it basically a pound heavier and getting in the way of your iron sights. So battery life is key when you talk about these red dots or holographic sights, and Aimpoint kills Eotech. As far as the most recent research that I've done, we're talking 8 years of runtime on this Aimpoint Comp M4S. You're talking less depending on the size of sight from Aimpoint. But this Aimpoint Comp M4S has 8 years of runtime, not at the highest setting, but we bump it down 1, 2, 3, and or 4, and you've got basically 8 years of runtime. It uses a AA battery. Those are way more available than the CR123s that some of the Eotechs run on, and there are other Aimpoints do run on some funky batteries, but you've got significantly more runtime. So needing one of those batteries becomes less likely, because you've got years of runtime on most of the Aimpoints. You've got many years of runtime. When it comes to the Eotechs, you've got more like months of runtime. I might be missing something. If you're an Eotech lover and I've somehow skewed the evidence and am spitting lies out of my mouth, feel free to leave a comment, respectful or not, go for it. But as far as I can tell, Aimpoints have years of runtime. That's the way I look at it. Eotechs have basically months of runtime. And for a user like myself who's going to use this for hunting, for coyote hunting, and for home defense, I want to stupid-proof my gun as possible, as much as possible. And for me, I'm going to shoot this gun maybe 4 or 5 times a year. In my mind, I think I shoot it every week, but reality is 4 or 5 times a year. I can switch out the battery once a year, whether that's New Year's, Christmas, my birthday, whatever that is. I just say, I switch out my batteries. These AA batteries are very available. They're easy. I can just go to my battery drawer, switch it in every year, switch that out, and I'm good to go. And I've got built-in basically 7 years of safety. With the Eotechs, you can run your battery out. If you leave it on the highest setting, your battery can be done in a couple of weeks, or at least a couple months. So that's why I like it. It's stupid-proofed. It's ready to go. If I have to go get this gun to defend my life or my loved ones' lives in a home invasion situation, this gun is ready to go, 100%. I know that I've got way more battery life than I could ever use. If I'm fighting for 8 years, if I'm fighting for more than, 2 minutes, I'm probably ill-equipped to be doing it, but this sight will run for 8 years with the battery, with a fresh battery put in it. So if we're looking at battery time, Aimpoint wins every time. It kills the Eotechs. Another thing that some people may overlook when we come to looking at the Aimpoints and the Eotechs is the Aimpoints allow you to vary the height of the optic. And what I'm talking about is Aimpoints and Eotechs were really designed for the AR-15 platforms, or at least they're currently being designed for the AR-15 platforms, which means that they have a relatively high center line of sight. They're set up, you know, to have the barrel down here, excuse me, man, and to have the optic up here. But with the aim points, you can see here, this is screwed on. This base is screwed on. I'll pop it off for you and show you. So this is screwed on right down here. Okay, we've got screws. So we can take this base off. This is a LaRue tactical base, and it gives me a lower 1/3 co-witness, which I like. You're able to take this off, and you're able to take the factory mounts that come with this sight if you don't purchase it directly from LaRue. And it'll come like this. And so you've got a couple different options. This would be the standard way that the U.S. Army, I believe, uses this sight with this setup. But you could take this off, and now you've just dropped, okay, you've just dropped the height of the sight. You can see how much you dropped it by that much, by the better part of 1/2 inch. So if you wanted to use it on something like a scout rifle, like the Ruger Gunsight Scout, this would work just fine. You can look around on my channel and find videos of me shooting my 10-22 with this setup, okay? I use it also with this setup, but your neck is, you don't have a cheek weld with this kind of a setup. But when you drop this in, you've got a cheek weld, and the thing functions well. With the Eotechs, that is not easy to do because of the way they're constructed. You can't subtract. You can add, but you can't subtract. And the Eotechs are basically set up to run on an AR-15 platform. So you have more versatility on the weapon systems that you can use with your Aimpoint sights, whether that's the Comp M4Ss that weigh like 4 ounces. I'm sorry, the Comp M4S is this one. You can vary the height, but whether we're talking about the T1 or the H1, the micro red dots from Aimpoint, those are 4 ounces with their base, and you can drop some fractions of ounces off there depending on the base you're going to use on them. But those are very small, and that's another thing that I like about the Aimpoints is they have varying sizes and shapes. Basically, the Eotechs are all kind of one blocky shape, kind of a big square television kind of sized back lens, and they're good sights, but it's very nice to be able to drop some ounces if you don't want to go with the heavy sight. Now you're going to go with a little more difficult battery to find on those Eotechs, I'm sorry, on the Aimpoints like the T1 and the H1, those micros, but they've got years of battery life rather than months of battery life. And so, you can buy some batteries ahead of time and then stock them. You could also do that with the Eotechs and be very careful about your battery runtime. But for me, with battery runtime, being able to vary that height of the optic so that I can use it on different platforms, not just an AR-15 platform, makes the sight more versatile. So those go to Aimpoint. I also feel that the overall construction of the Aimpoints, because they're using a cylinder, okay, and then they're filling that cylinder, that they are stronger than the design of the Eotechs. We could probably argue this all day long, but for me, the overall construction, particularly of the Comp M4S as compared to some of the Eotechs, just seems like a stronger, better built optic, in my personal opinion. Again, you may disagree with me, but I like the Aimpoints for those things, for those reasons. The fact that I feel that they've got significantly better battery life. We're talking years rather than months. They have the ability to vary the overall height of the optic, and the fact that they have I feel a stronger overall construction. At this point, if you're an Eotech lover, you are hating my guts, and that's okay. Sell your Eotech and buy an Aimpoint. You're looking at the Eotech website, and what I want to talk about now is Eotech's limited warranty versus Aimpoint's warranty. You'll see right in here, you can look up this website if you wanted to. If you just put in your Google search engine, Eotech warranty and Aimpoint warranty, bring those up, you'll be able to come right to these web pages. This is Eotech's official website. You can see right up here. And I'm going to zoom in now on Eotech's little blurb here about their limited warranty. Basically, Eotech gives you, whether you're a military, law enforcement, or private citizen, they give you a 2-year, from the original purchase date, they give you basically a 2-year warranty on the product being free of defects in materials or workmanship. So you've got 2 years from its original date. If it breaks, 2 years and 1 day afterwards, they're not helping you, basically. And from people that I've listened to that have purchased Eotechs, basically that's what Eotech does. Eotech doesn't seem to say, hey, you've owned it for only two and a half years, you're a private citizen, we're going to cover you. Basically, Eotech sticks to this 2 years, and then it's not their problem reality. And when you're paying $500, $450 for an optic, I think that they should extend that warranty, particularly for private citizens. If a law enforcement agency buys this, they probably got a good deal, and it's not probably out of the pocket of the individual officer, whether they're in the military or the law enforcement. Now, I want you guys to look at, this is Aimpoint's official website. Okay, we'll bring it up. I'll show you that it's aimpoint.com right there. This is Aimpoint's official website. And I want you guys to look at this. Aimpoint guarantees its products to be free from original manufacturer defects in materials and workmanship under normal use for a period of 2 years for professional and competition use. So if you're a law enforcement officer or in the military, they're going to cover you for 2 years apparently. And if you're a competitor, like an official 3-gun competitor, your sponsor, they're going to cover you for 2 years. And that's because of the amount of use, wear, and tear that you're going to put on the optic. That's the same exact warranty information that Eotech's going to cover you. But this is where it becomes really important for you if you're a private citizen or you're purchasing it for private use, and for me as a private citizen purchasing this for your or my tactical carbine for self-defense and for hunting. You've got a 10-year warranty from Aimpoint. 10 years, they're going to take care of you if you're using the sight for personal use from the date of original purchase. And so if I'm looking at the warranty, and this really helped me make the decision to choose Aimpoint, they are going to take care of me for 10 years. If this thing breaks, if this thing falls apart, if for some odd reason something breaks on it, and I don't hear people complaining about Aimpoint's breaking. I hear some people complaining about the Eotech's breaking. It shows me that Aimpoint stands behind their products in a way that Eotech is unwilling to do. And so when it comes to the warranty and for private use, you've already got the significantly better battery time. You've already got, the ability to vary the height of the optic, and therefore you're able to use it on a wider variety of firearms, shotguns, rifles, AR-15s, bolt-action guns. You're able to vary that in a way that you're not able to do because of the way the Eotechs are constructed. And so for a private citizen, Aimpoint's warranty is just way, way better. You got 10 years. You're going to be protected. And I know Aimpoints are more expensive. They're going to, $200 or $300 more for the Aimpoint Comp M4S than some of the Eotech models. But look how much more that gets you. That gets you 10 years of warranty from defective material or workmanship. So that's one of the driving reasons that I chose to purchase the Aimpoint, is the significantly better coverage that I got because of Aimpoint's 10-year personal use warranty. So those are the reasons why I chose to purchase the Aimpoint Comp M4S over any number of the models which Eotech manufactures. You've got significantly better battery life. You're talking about years of battery life rather than months with the Aimpoints. You're talking about the ability to vary the height of the optic because of the removable base. So that allows you to use this optic on a wider range of firearms. You've got what I feel is a better overall construction with the Aimpoints, and you've got a much better warranty from Aimpoint as compared to Eotech. Those are the reasons why I would definitely recommend an Aimpoint to you. I think they're a great optic. I think that they are a very useful tool for home defense, for hunting. And that's why I recommend them to you. If you were going to, I know they're a little more expensive, and I know I've already said this. If you were going to give me the option of an Eotech sight or an Aimpoint, I would choose Aimpoint every day over the Eotech. Just because of the things we mentioned there. And when we're talking about you as a private citizen spending your hard-earned money, already you've invested in some kind of a tactical carbine or modern sporting rifle, and you're wanting to add the addition of a red dot for better target acquisition, better situational awareness, I say spend the money, get an Aimpoint, and I think you're going to be happy. Thank you very much for your views and your subscriptions. My goal is to produce quality video reviews of shooting, camping, and survival gear. I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for your views and your subscriptions. This is the Gear Tester signing off.